Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to United View. Welcome back to another episode of the Trinity podcast, episode 26, powered by Dangor. Yes, yes, right on cue. KG, right on the buttons, right
We're
on
actually
the money,
together.
Right
We're actually together.
Has that been is it 2 weeks?
It was 2 weeks. Yeah. The streak was broken, unfortunately. We'd been consecutive for 25 straight weeks, but 2 weeks happened. You know, I was sat here actually this time last week waiting for you guys. I was like,
no, wait a minute.
No one showed up. Unfortunately,
No one came. In the streets were saying in America, a couple people stopped me in KG down Rodeo Drive, and they were like, "Hey man, listen, the Trinity powered by Dangor. Just because you're not there, Owen should sit there with 2 missing posters." A couple of guys said that to us.
I thought about it. I think we need to genuinely, though, have a serious conversation, I think, about the Powered by Dangor thing, because the luck this kid has had since he became an unofficial sponsor of this show, like, we sucked all the power out of him. I mean, I don't know if you heard, they're talking like he's still not back in training, freak injury.
Setbacks and that.
Yeah,
nah, all right. All right, guys.
We need to,
No, I don't want to do the whole like judge thing or whatever, but like, to be honest, it's all Flex's fault, because
he's
like, if you look
too
at
much.
He is because if you think about it, he was on holiday. We signed 2 players, okay, and Jadon Sancho returned. He comes back, and then he leaves with the players. We get injuries. We've stopped signing people. We can't sell anyone. So I'm in the process.
Wants out. And now Jadon wants out again.
Sancho might be leaving. So like, can we like, I don't know, start like a GoFundMe for Flex to go somewhere on holiday or whatever again?
You're right. It's successful when you're not in the country.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. So you're right, and in light of that, I'm off.
All right. Good.
Can you imagine if it was that simple? Wait, can you imagine if that, like, Flex takes that, like, he takes that stance and says, I'm done with it all, you know? But he has to come back. Like, he can't, like, act like this. No. He should, bro, because I don't think it's Flex, because I've been getting paid.
Absolutely disgraceful.
They're saying my songs are doing it. They're saying I've made songs.
Maybe I sort of kick you out, actually.
Oh, shit.
Maybe we just I got rid of both of them. You know, I had to. You know what I mean? I had to get rid of both. It's too much. It's too much. Like, KG's back.
I'm back. I'm back. Where's he? Is he not come back yet?
I don't know. I think he's taking it really seriously.
No, I'm here, but I'm not enabling my camera.
You have no power here. What's that thingy? Oh. You have no power here. Remember that Zoom call? It was that local Zoom call.
Yeah.
Oh, what was it though? Oh, you have no power. Oh, she was really trying to lay down the laws. It was a local government thing. Bro, you got powers, man.
No, I'm not. I'll do the show via audio. I'm not.
I can't. To be fair, I've never really explored some of the powers I have here on this end with some of these buttons. There's a button called Deafen. I think I can turn Flex's.
Deafen.
I can.
Oh,
so you can't hear both of us. So if I
but you can carry on.
I don't think he can hear us now.
Do it now.
He can't hear us now. He's a knobhead. He is a massive.
Knobhead.
He's massive. He's part of the problem. He is part of the problem.
Yeah.
You're right, Flex. You're right, mate.
Yeah, fine, mate. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Guys, we actually have to get into stuff. Me saying that is crazy. We need to talk about.
We do. Well, he started it. I was ready to start the show, and apparently everything's my fault, so I may as well not be here.
No, you know, Flex, I'm going to say, I don't think it's your fault, because I've been getting blame as well from the community. They said that the songs that I've created have destroyed. Onana song destroyed him. They said that Euro song, he was fresh, destroyed him. My Delit song before Delit's arrived, Delit hit a parked car. I mean, like, at the moment, but players need songs. Players need songs.
Yeah,
do they really?
Well, maybe not. Yeah, that's true. Well,
I thought you were going to have a bit of a better dismount than that, to be honest, KG.
Right. No, because
players need songs, mate.
If this was athletics, I'd be like, wow, the build-up was good. Mid-air, the execution was good. The dismount was completely full of shit, because he ended with players need songs.
I think you're that Japanese diver who just fell flat.
Oh, you know that? Wait, in Philippines? I think it's in the Philippines.
Is it Philippines?
Oh, he was trash. Oh, he was. bro.
Wait,
You know,
but
big
the
up to
thing,
yours.
the first bit was all right. He's like, yeah, and then
he's great dismount, and then it just went into crap. But yeah, big up.
All right, let's get into it though. Do you know what? There is actually a lot to talk about in this show. I want to talk about at some point during the show where we are at as a fan base. There's a lot of frustrations now. Some people are blaming INEOS. Some people, the reality has hit them smack bang in the face of like what our squad is versus what it isn't. So actually, the excitement going into the season is like, wait, hold on a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
No, wait a minute.
Wait. We're shit. Yeah. So some people's thing is that. Other people's like, hold on. How can you blame, INEOS? Take your time. Then there's this Jadon Sancho situation as well that happened earlier on this afternoon. So let's just quickly start the Jadon Sancho thing. Owen, what was the line? Is Duncan Castles apparently is suggesting that things are quite apparently.
Well, Flex, you say that, but the tweet in question may have just been deleted.
Wait, tell me.
Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful.
Wait, what?
Well,
so
right, about that Jadon thing. Well, onto the fan base.
Well, there was. Let's just say.
PSG have held direct talks with Man United.
Other people have picked it up. Other people have picked it up. There is a suggestion, maybe shall we say, that PSG have held direct talks with Manchester United regarding Jadon Sancho. Talks advanced to the stage of discussing financials of a potential deal. To be honest with you, that's not, I guess, totally new news, because we know that PSG have been interested. If anyone's going to buy Jadon Sancho this summer, it would be Paris Saint-Germain. And frankly, for Manchester United to do some of the transfers that they want to do, Jadon Sancho is kind of our last hope, really, because the people that we had earmarked to sell look like they're not going anywhere. Casemiro, we said from the start that don't get so overconfident. He might not be going anywhere. Why would he? It's 340k a week. Why would he want to go anywhere else that isn't in Europe? Scott McTominay, we've done this before, have we? Where we think he might go, he might not go. Fulham didn't want to pay the right amount. They've moved on to other targets. Wan-Bissaka, we thought was a bit of a slam dunk, was going to West Ham. Apparently, we're the only club that can't do business with West Ham this summer transfer window, because everyone else can. Whether it's, Todibo, whether it's whoever, they can do business with West Ham.
West Ham are taking a piss right now.
We apparently can't. We apparently can't do business with them. So with all of that going on, it looks like that if Sancho were the one to be sold, which you could see him going to PSG, couldn't you? £40 million, something like that. A lot of that money probably goes towards getting De Ligt, and then whatever's left over probably goes towards getting a midfielder, possibly a loan deal, something along those lines. And then you hope that the Wan-Bissaka exit can happen, whether it brings in Mazraoui, whether it brings in Denzel Dumfries. We'll kind of see. But Sancho's the one. He's the fundraiser at the moment.
He's the key. He's the one who holds the key, man. And I think that also that leads into a segue away from the Sancho thing. It also leads into a segue of like, I feel like the fan base is getting a bit twitchy now, because itchy, twitchy, ratty, these kind of adjectives, because I'm like, hold on a minute. Wait a minute. I'm like, find yourself.
Hold on, wait a minute.
You all said we have to be patient under INEOS. You all said that these are sins of the past. We've got players that nobody wants. These players are rubbish. But obviously, we're finding it hard to sell players, and that's a frustration. And also, even Paul Scholes was talking. I saw a lot of people reacting off the back of what he said, because Scholes, he was like, I see a lot of Man United fans getting excited for the new season. KJ, I want to point this towards you, because I know you've been a bit optimistic, sort of saying new era, new dawn. Eric seems happy on tour. Players are happy. We've been there, we've seen it. But legend of Man United said, I see United fans getting positive for the season. I'm struggling, me. Midfield, people left on an island. We ain't got no one in there. The goalkeeper really worries me. Like, still, Onana, not sold on him. You get this Euro kid, but he's 18, cool, but a lot of pressure. This De Ligt guy, Juve didn't want him, but Bayern, he was massively wrong in my opinion. But Bayern didn't want him, and he's injury prone, and Eric Dyer's playing ahead of him, which also isn't true. But what's your thoughts on that? And some people are feeling that they're not excited for the season.
It's difficult, right? Because the whole thing about a new season is the excitement, you know, like you get this thing where we're all on 0 points and it's, well, what could happen? What could be achieved? And guess what? There's shocking realities. Usually we're not really involved in a community shield. So we don't have the community shield for us to be hit with the reality of probably what we're going to experience this season. Now, that's if I look at it from a negative perspective. But then from the other perspective is, well, the young core that we had is still there. Like, Kobe hasn't miraculously not been a part of the team. The players that we saw, Garnacho, Ahmad, all those, that picture that we saw at the end of the season still exists. Those players are still there and going to be a part of things. Now, you've added Rasmus Højlund. Yes, he's injured, but he's not injured for a long time. You've added Xerxes. We have to see what Xerxes is going to go out and become. But then there's things to, I can understand why we're upset, but there's things to be positive about at the same time. I still feel that, like, I don't think it's total doom and gloom. I do feel that there's things that Ten Hag has to do to make us feel confident. And one thing is going to be how close we can get players to Casemiro so he's not on his own on the island on his own. Last season, it was a mess. Him being so exposed, Casemiro didn't help that he was diving into every tackle, but you could see that midfield just didn't work. I hope he's got his hands on that midfield, even in as it is now, and said, this is how we're going to play going forward. You do have the likes of Leacher back. I know people can say we're one injury away from it all going to crap again. And you are seeing on pre-season, when you do take off the first kind of team, it gets really bad. When you bring us like Fish and all these others, like them Bennett and type players, but those won't be the players that are coming on. Yeah, it'll be a different course. So
that wasn't even really the second team, was it? Really, that was like third or fourth team because the second team was already out there. Really,
there you go. There you go. So I'm definitely on the positive side of things. I just need to see that my manager has learned from last season. Like, I hope he's learned a lot about, and he can, because I don't want, while the people keep saying INEOS have not given Ten Hag enough and they're hanging him out to dry. I don't stand in that group of people, with that group that feel that way. My thing is, Ten Hag, this is year 3, yeah? And last season, near the end of the season, what you lot were saying, you managed to change things to make it work for you. You said, this style of football is not going to work. This is what I'm going to do to get through this rough period. I want to see that from Ten Hag. I don't want to get to 5-6 games lost, and then he's saying, well, now I'm going to change it. No, Ten Hag, I need you to be proactive with the players that we have, because we do believe we have some good ones. And even if it's not the system you actually want to play, get the result. That's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in getting the results. I don't want to hear my team, we didn't get everything I wanted in the window, because you where we are at the moment with Man United in terms of the patience and stuff, we can't do it because we can't sell players. You can't force these guys out of the club.
And critically with that as well, is that there were those rumblings at the end of the season, weren't there, that Ten Hag changed things up sort of in collaboration with those above him, like your Jason Wilcox or whatever. Now with extra people in there, like your Dan Ashworth, like your Omar Barada, if things aren't going great, certainly you would think there'd be a bit more internal pressure than there was last season, or at the very least more people to help out when it comes to, you actually can't be this stubborn, Eric. You've got to change this. We need to get results, or this, that, and the other. So I do agree with KG. Obviously, things aren't completely rosy at the moment. And obviously, we'd want to have more players through the door. And obviously, there are still concerns about midfielders and incomings. The issues we're having right now, I don't think is like really a big revelation. We knew there were probably going to be issues. I think if you could criticize INEOS for something, you could maybe say they were maybe a smidge overconfident or optimistic about their ability to move on players. You know, maybe we're going to get rid of Casemiro this summer. Well, that might be a bit easier said than done. You know, or we're going to get rid of Scott McTominay. Other people have kind of tried. We're going to get rid of Wan-Bissaka. You might want a bit of a payoff. I'm not sure if that's in the budget. What I mean by that. No, I'm not saying that's necessarily their fault. I'm saying that you could criticize them as in the sense of they had these big grand plans maybe for the summer, and maybe they should have been a bit more realistic with it in the sense of it's going to maybe take a little bit longer than you think to move on some of these players. But I don't blame them for that. I think that's the key difference. I don't blame them for that, because they're not the ones that signed off on those deals in the first place.
Yeah.
They're not the ones who gave those contracts in the first place. I mentioned to you on your channel the other day, KG, that Richard Arnold was sat in that pub when the fans came to his house, and he was talking about burning through cash, mate. And then after that, he sanctioned £70 million for Casemiro, 4 or 5 year contract, and 89 million quid for Antony. That's after he talked about burning through cash. And these people have put these guys on these contracts with these transfers that affect us to this day. And that is also why whenever we sign a player, I'm not having that conversation where people go, oh, who cares about the wages? Who cares about the money? Because this is why you care about the money and the wages. It's because when it comes back around that you want to sell the players, eventually they go, why would I leave? And a buying club goes, why would I bother? There's a reason that, there's an interview of Antony today coming, I'm going to stay. Well, obviously he's going to stay. Where's he going to go? Well, he's on 200k a week. You know what I mean? And if Man United bought him for half of that amount, or he was on half that amount in terms of the wages, it might be a bit easier to get rid of him this summer, and for a lot of players. So I don't blame INEOS for that. There's only so much they can do. It is going to have to literally just be a patience thing, which means this season there's going to be some painful moments again. We've got used to it at this point. But I agree with KG in the sense of, and we were talking about this the other day, but we Flex, that if you just cut the injuries in half that you had last season, then you should have a better season, logically, shouldn't you? Better players should be available. I don't know, it's easier said than done, because you never know. We've got players injured at the moment.
We've already got 2 done.
And we're going into a community shield with barely any defenders. But if you could, then it should be better.
Hold your breath, man. You hold your breath anytime a player takes a challenge. I felt that was the hardest thing about pre-season. Me and Flex, we're looking at a player and normal tackles, bro, normal parts of football. And anytime something happens, minimum contact, I look at Flex, I'm like, oh no.
Well, that is the one I'll criticize Ten Hag for in pre-season. There was no reason for Aaron Wan-Bissaka to only play 90 minutes against Liverpool. And I don't care if we didn't have any of a right back. Who gives a shit? It's pre-season. He should have been off.
He did that
45 minutes. Exactly. It doesn't matter. And then he comes off nearly ends with a knock. Now he's a doubt for tomorrow. And you go, and you're trying to sell him.
Wan-Bissaka's a doubt.
Bro, have you seen
the press conference?
He ain't seen what's going on. Bro, Luke Shaw's a doubt.
Luke Shaw's a doubt. Wan-Bissaka's a doubt.
No, but he shouldn't be a doubt, bro.
Maguire's a doubt. Lindelof's a doubt.
No, I'm saying Luke Shaw, I'm done. I'm totally done. Like, you lot can't convince me about Luke Shaw anymore. I'm sick of it.
No one's trying to.
No, but I'm saying that, and this is the problem area. When you talk about players that need to be sold, I think that yes, there's value in Wan-Bissaka's contract and stuff, but they're getting rid of Wan-Bissaka just so we can get someone that can cover Luke Shaw's position and play another position, do 2 positions at once in Mazraoui, right? That's the whole reason that Wan-Bissaka's got some level of value. Get him out. Luke Shaw should not be here. We laughed. Sir Jim sent him a message for England saying, hey, don't get injured again. Yeah?
You've been serious.
Guess what happens? Guess what happens?
Yeah, but he didn't. He didn't get injured in England. He
this is the thing.
Come home injured.
He might not even. This is worth stressing. It's not even the sense that he might be injured. By the way, like for tomorrow, it might be just the case of like he can't do it because he's still technically recovering and they don't want to risk him, which in itself is a problem because you're actively. It's a bit like the Varane situation, but even worse. You're actively removing him from games with the concern that he could get injured, or we might need him for this game, so we can't play him for that game. Like, that's a problem. I remember saying to you, Flex, months ago, even before the season ended, I was like, for me, talking about priority positions in the summer market, left back's way up there for this very reason. Exactly. And the Malacia one, who like for me,
I'm miles off coming back. He's 2 months off coming back.
Was it 2 months or something?
2 months. And even then, you hope that he can just sort of carry on playing some kind of a level. You know what I mean? You don't want to have an Owen Hargreaves.
You're not going to be able to rely. You're not going to be able to rely on that halfway through, not halfway through a season, but like.
But if he comes back, he should be back like proper. If he comes back, he's nursed in.
He never
had a setback. He just had a setback. It's like his first real serious injury. So it should be like
over a year of a knee injury.
It's not a normal injury, bro. It's not.
So that's
and he's not. We keep thinking Malacia's this kid, bro. He's like 25, 26. He's not. He's like in the prime. He's not. Is he 24, 25?
I want to say maybe 24. Maybe.
I want to say 24.
24.
Yeah, so 24 going on 25. So he's not like 19-year-old like.
I think he can come back from that. I think he can
like,
honestly come back from
yeah,
that.
listen, and he might be able to. Like he might be able to, and like.
But you'd have to manage him for months at this stage.
He
Even
can't,
when he comes back, he's not playing
after being out for
30
nearly
games in a row.
18 months. You can't just play back-to-back games. And I remember you're helping.
No, nor can I ever left back.
You're helping Luke Shaw. So if you're helping Luke Shaw, that means that, mate, you're going to get games. By the way, like when Reguilon come, mate. We shouldn't have even sent him back in January. Man was playing. We needed him.
Like, that's why you know what I mean? Whoever that person from the medical department was, that said to Eric Ten Hag.
That's probably why they're not here no more.
That said to Eric Ten Hag. You can send Reguilon back. Why? Because Shaw and Malacia will be back. What on earth?
But even Eric took a jibe at that to say I was told I would have thing. So that's even him
rare.
saying
that's rare.
Told me that.
He was pissed. He was pissed.
Yeah.
And I'm in the same position. And it's like we got Harry and Mess. Come on, can't put that pressure on him. Come on, let's not be silly here.
No, he's not. He can do a little bit here and there, but to go into the Premier League and say, "Kid, listen, we got bare injuries. Go and run it out." And look, he might start the
he will probably.
Because it's still another preseason game. It's a chance to give him a look at it in a bigger picture, and the availability of actually who's back. We ain't got no one, and he's played all the games through preseason. So in terms of continuity, you're probably gonna have to play him if there's no Luke Shaw, or you don't want to rest. You don't want to push Luke Shaw because you want to start against Fulham, or Dallow's only just come back, so you're not trying to push him, or Dallow has to play 20 minutes off the bench.
Really, we have no fullbacks.
We've got nothing, bro. It's the same, and this is where though. So this is the bit of what I wanted to touch on. Is like this is where people are getting a bit twitchy, and there was two sides to that twitchiness. One side was the bit where it's like, come on, guys, like, come on, INEOS. We've been struggling to sell players for ages, and obviously when the team's not doing good as well. So like Arsenal are finding it now easier to sell players for decent fees because they're now a good team. They're operating well at a good level, even though they haven't won something significant yet. Under Arteta since they've been this good.
They believe they're getting value.
So, Smith Rowe's now 35 million. If they sell flipping Nketiah, 25 million plus. If they sell
City.
Nelson,
Alvarez.
You know what I mean? City, but 90 million. But literally they've won every, you know what I mean? You can see he's been part of something good. But my point is that the other side of the twitchiness is more this, which is going, actually, yeah, I can be excited for the season, but really I am setting myself up to fail, not because I'm blaming INEOS, not because it's all their fault, but actually I'm just looking at the squad with what's available. And you can push back and say, well, that would be your fault for getting overexcited because you still know that, yeah, McTominay's here and Maguire's still in the squad and there's no Rasmus or whatever. But it's still, you look at it and go, right, as of now, we're looking at Zanderberg from Burnley because we have to get someone in. The Ugarte thing hasn't really worked out.
If Sancho is literally on there, they want Sancho. Why are we not trying to do some level of deal for them too? Because we have wingers. Not saying we're blessed with wingers, but if Sancho was surplus requirements and we have a hole in midfield, I would do some level of swap. Or
just sell him for whatever money it costs, and then you've got the money.
I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do the swap for Sancho and Ugarte. I'd try and spread it as much as I possibly could. So I'd be looking at the Sancho fee and being like, for me,
40 in the door.
It's critical to get De Ligt. And I mean, we don't know how much more United still has. Man United might have a bit
more critical than. Do you believe De Ligt's more critical than a midfielder?
Well, this is what I'm saying. I think you can do both with the Sancho one. Instead of doing a swap and then having nothing left over, I think you could get 40. I don't know how much money United actually technically have at the moment. Say they have, 10 million surplus at the moment they could spend. You sell Sancho, you got them 50 million. You can go get De Ligt for around 40. Then you don't have enough to probably buy a midfielder, but you do have enough to, at the very least, do a loan or maybe get up some kind of deal where it's spread across, a certain amount of time. I think you could spread it a bit more as opposed to just let's just swap.
With what Owen's saying, yeah, I'll stress this, KG, and you guys watching at home. This is quote, from people in the club when I'm trying to see what the crack is, The quote: "We're trying to get fullback, centre back, and number 6. Fact, yeah, I know that. That's what we've been told. There's a tight budget." Also, need to sell before we buy. Need to sell to buy. That's it. That's it. Done.
And by the way,
sell to buy.
Different. And it must be stressed. No different from anyone else in that regard. Today, obviously, there's big news about Chelsea getting Pedro Neto, and that's no shock considering that
it is the KG. It is the KG.
Yeah, obviously.
No, his eyes just popped out.
But to be fair, and like it kind of came about out of nowhere. No one really covered it. And again, it's got that perception of it happened overnight, whereas in the reality, a bit like the Zubomendi one, it happened overnight when it kind of hasn't. You know, I mean, these things take a lot of time, but it's no coincidence that Chelsea this week have also had some very significant outgoings, particularly homegrown players, pure profit, Conor Gallagher. Like the very next day, Pedro Neto's through the door. And I do think that would be the same with United. So if Wan-Bissaka went, the next day, we'd probably get Mazraoui. If we sold Jadon Sancho, the next day, we'd probably get either this midfielder, whether it's Sanderberg or De Ligt, because those deals, it's not to say that we haven't been working on them. Like the guys on what the Devils
they're on ice. We need the dominant
the 90% there. We just can't actually do it at the moment, but they're ready to go. So it's the hardest bit is getting those players that are currently here out the door.
So hearing that line, literally in front of me, black and white, I'll read it again. Sell to buy. Man United have used up their available cash, whether you think it's right or wrong, on Lenny Yoro and Joshua Zirkzee. That was what we got.
Those at the moment,
no, they're not bad buys. No,
like Euro was one for the future and one that will be played now. As soon as injury, he's going to play. Zirkzee, what we're going to get to see what he's about.
We're going to see. So that's fine. It's just that the fact of those two deals happening is, and even we now need outgoings, and we haven't had any, or not enough significance.
And even with the Zirkzee one, we had to be a bit creative with that because we didn't pay his release clause. We could have, but we'd have taken most of our budget up. We went, we'll pay a little bit more, but we'll stretch it, so we still have some money left over to do some other deals. So again, that just shows how tight things are at the moment, and the difference between us and these other clubs that are now doing business is these other clubs are able to sell. Like today, Spurs, they're going to probably get Dominic Solanke. What happened earlier today? Emerson Royale, he went to AC Milan. Like, it's no coincidence that these players.
How much? I hope he hasn't.
He went 10 million euros. He went
good.
But it's enough. But it's enough. But it's enough for them to start getting moving players on. And suddenly, it's no coincidence that these then incoming deals happen literally the day of or the next day. Like, again, it was no coincidence. We dropped out of the Ugarte race the day PSG signed Neves. Because we thought that was going to be the difference. They went, no, I guess then that's not happening. So there is this sort of territory where a lot of clubs are like waiting for each other. Even the Bayern, look at the Bayern situation with De Ligt now and Tar. We're waiting to sell someone. They're waiting for us to sell someone to try and buy De Ligt. Then they're waiting to buy Leverkusen, waiting for Bayern. Like everyone's waiting for each other.
I think deadline day is going to be so interesting. Because a lot of clubs are playing chicken. A lot of clubs are like, let's see who blinks first. And it's going to be, clubs are going to be forced into doing things. You know, it's annoying because you kind of want to have your targets and everything sorted already. Like, we know, I was listening to the show that you did this morning, and Florian Plettenberg is basically saying, the Lit's happening. It's going to happen. Like, at some point,
that was interesting.
He's going to be there, you know? So,
is that what he said?
Pretty much.
Well, he was talking about this deadline with Jonathan Tah last night, midnight, whether or not it happened or not. But basically, there was a lot of confusion yesterday about whether Bayern did or didn't want Jonathan Tah. But every single person said this is separate to their desire to sell De Ligt. And even Florian Plettenberg was like, when De Ligt goes to Man United in August. So he's saying like, they're going to get rid of him because they kind of have to at some point, which is maybe what United are thinking. Which is why they're playing so hard on the fee, because they're going, we know you're going to come down at a certain point. And to KG's point, as the window clocks on and everyone gets, like, even we talk about fans being twitchy, the clubs start to get twitchy. And especially if you have the first results of the season, if they're good or bad, people go a bit more.
Get twitchy. Everyone gets twitchy because, you know, like a lot of clubs are looking at McTominay, right? And you're hoping this is one of those plays that you're like, well, it's a gamble because it might not get twitchy and it might not come in for it. I think probably we need to get Saudi out of our heads in the Casemiro thing. Casemiro's going to be here for the long standing, it looks like.
Yeah, he's here.
But then in terms of other clubs that will say, hey, you know, we might need to go and get McTominay. We might need to go and get even PSG with the Ugarte thing. They are packed. They actually can't. Him being in that midfield doesn't suit them. When's he going to play? What's he going to do? We're just going to have a player of that quality sitting on the bench. When you bought in Neves, you got in that other, what's that Portuguese player? Really good on the ball.
Not
INEOS, something like that.
Ruiz.
And Vitinha as well. I swear Vitina's there as well.
No, he's already there. He's already
I'm saying he's there. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, he's there. Yeah, Vitinha.
That's what I'm saying. You've got a team you got a midfield that's full, and you got a manager that doesn't fancy him, who's come out and basically said it's not really for me. So then I see us going back to that conversation. The one thing that I kind of don't want to see us do though is, it's almost, the Xander Berg player that was supposed to be looking at.
Xander Berg.
I don't want to get a player that's a stopgap that we can't actually sell.
Here's the thing with him, yeah.
Go ahead.
Right. I was talking about this today, yeah, about like we will hear the name Xander Berg and go, "You're taking the piss out of us."
No,
basically, do you know what I mean? Yeah, some people might say like,
"That's not about that." That's not.
That's wicked. Yeah, because some people will say like, "Yeah, you're getting Burnley's like centre mid." Like, mate, Man United the narrative will be Man United are trying to get back to the top, and the way they want to do it is go to Burnley and get their relegated midfielder, who before that was at Sheffield United and also got relegated. Like, that would be the the spin. They've gone from Ugarte from PSG. Now they've just got to go, and that's what someone would say about us on whatever. But like you said, like I was going to say, it's like it's about I think your point was going to be more about like, because if he's a stopgap, then he's got no resale value, etc., and we can't make no money off him.
Yeah,
and I
thought was going to get money on Eriksen. I thought that was smart business. You bring in Eriksen on a free, and someone else picks him up for 5-6 million, like in this season. Brilliant work. So now Man United,
that probably still could happen though. That probably
not at the moment. It doesn't look likely. I feel like Eriksen's a part of the squad going forward. Like this is a lot of these players, as I said before, as I said over and over again, these players are here forever until they walk out on a free. And so now I don't want a stopgap that's just going to be there for a little while. There's some players that you can say, you know what? So even like the old me would make a mistake, because while I want to pack out the midfield and give us a chance, there was two players I like the look of in Rabiot and Ugarte, who give us more still in that midfield. We just have options or different ways we can play and different ways we can set up the squad to be like an effective team. Right now, if we lose Kobe or Bruno, we're in trouble, serious trouble, because we don't even have the likes of Amrabat now, or it's just Casemiro, and it's Casemiro.
And this is why we're in big trouble in that area, though. This is why we're in massive trouble in that area of like, I need two midfielders, to be honest with you. We need two. Which obviously, really under the current circumstances, like you say, unless there is a move again, dominoes fall really quickly, so that in the last dying days of the window, Eriksen does go for 4 million to bloody, I don't know, Copenhagen, and then Scott McTominay does go to Fulham. Like that, then you can go, right, I tell you what, the Amrabat one was we'll loan him again, or only pay 8 and 10 million for him or whatever. Xander Berg, we can do that at 30 million, and then you have got two. But that's that area, right? You're so right. If Kobe and Bruno ain't there, like we're in such, and even with them there, with the current setup we have, it's still way off. Put it this way, I know some people say I don't get the disrespect to Casemiro. It's not disrespect, it's just my eyes showing me what I believe will happen. If he has to keep lining up for us week in, week out, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
That does not accompany what we have. Unless there's major, and I mean major tactical. That's what I was going to say. Unless there's major like tactical changes that we didn't see coming, where we go, oh, this is interesting. Bruno's not like a false 9/10 running up. That he's really next to Casemiro in with Mason Mount. Oh, this is interesting. Casemiro's on the bench, and it's Kobe, Mason Mount, and Bruno, and not any of them are really a 10. They're just stuck together, holding hands, moving in tangent. Like, unless something crazy happens, then we're going to get left on the island and have exactly the same problems as last year from minute one. From minute one, I could feel it, and I hope I'm wrong.
But what's different? What is different? And that's from a negative side of it, right? The other side of it is, well, you do have. I remember us for a few minutes, 15 minutes against Arsenal. When you do have the striker that's occupying and forcing them back and making you work hard, all of a sudden you're in the game more than you ever were. And for Ten Hag's style to work, you do need a busy striker. You need someone that's going to occupy, back to goal, bring players into the game. And that's what both we're hoping Xerxes can do, but we know that's what Rasmus does. Now, we're on the wings, what you do have is you have an Ahmad who's chomping at the bit. You have a Rashford who's chomping, ready to go. and then you have a Garnacho. So when the teams are tired, you can bring on these players. Before, we was getting to the bench, and all we had off the bench was McTominay to help us get a goal. And that's not enough. Now, at least you can go to the bench and say, well, I have Garnacho, I potentially have an Ahmad, or depending on who starts. Anthony apparently wants to start using his right foot, and he's going to be he wants to assist and stuff to his name. So
wait a minute. Did what's he done? Has he said something?
He did an interview. He did an interview when he was saying about, you know, this season will be a better season and all that kind of stuff. But like, I think KG brings up a good point with, you know, what he's saying, because he's saying about playing with a striker. People do forget, like, this again was the crazy thing about pre-season is we didn't actually play badly against Liverpool. It's one of the best performances I've seen for United in ages. We were really good in that game, and it did make me think, oh, imagine actually the players that are missing, add that into that team, and a striker. So that's why there is part of me that's part of me going, well, actually, you know, there is some positives with that. I just think it's you mentioned the midfield thing, and I spoke about this morning. I do think it is a bit of a catch-22 situation in the sense that it's a bit like, so we might not get our first targets. Now, do we do the Manchester United thing that we've done previously, which is we panic and we pivot to someone else and we get someone that we didn't really want, and to KG's point, in like 18 months' time, we're like, we actually haven't really addressed that position, but we just need to get bodies through the door, and we've done that. Or, like for me, whatever target we go for, it still has to be part of the plan. Maybe it wasn't, you know, plan A or plan B, but it was still thoroughly considered, and it wasn't reactionary, and it does fit. And that's why I do agree with what you're saying too, Flex, in this whole Sander Berge situation is, we can't keep talking out both sides of our mouth, because we get angry that we go to these high-profile clubs and get these players like Casemiro, where we're going to go to Real Madrid, or even when it's delayed, like, why are we getting people from Bayern Munich? If they've not made it there, how are they going to make it at United? We should be going for sort of smaller players, developing them from smaller clubs. We do that, and we go, they're not going to be good enough for Man United. They're not going to be good enough for Man United. We go, well, what way are we going to go? What way are we going to go then? Which decision do we want to make? So I'm not totally opposed to the Sander Berge option, as long as it was something that INEOS have properly considered. If he was always on the short list, but it was just a case of, well, it was a bit further down, but they still think he can fit. If he can fit,
I'm not feeling it.
But are you not feeling it because it's Burnley and
because I just done the Opta-stat thing, and while it's like I'm gonna compare him to what I've been looking at is him versus Casemiro, and this is like who I feel Casemiro's pretty much done at a level, at the highest level, because we see him even in pre-season, bro. He's diving and doing the madness. But then one of the main things that I was looking at is, again, we need someone that, what we're looking for is someone that's going to block interceptions.
That's the main part of his game, though. That's the main part of his game. He excels in that.
There's a stat here that says Sander Berge won 58.5% of his challenges in the Premier League last season. That's a higher success rate than Zubimendi. He's a bit of a different midfielder, but it's a higher success rate than Manuel Ugarte. That's a higher success rate than Yusuf Fafada, managed in their respective leagues. And this is the point that you can find stats. You can find stats for anything. So,
so everyone was talking about him like that because I spoke to someone earlier today, and I was like, "Look, man, Burnley played different, so he's not going to be. The pressure is different." And I said, "No, because obviously they conceded 103 goals, so I expect them defensive numbers to be high because all you're doing is defend. It's like in terms of Onana faced a bag of shots. So then there's times we say,
that's going to be his job, though."
Yes,
again,
it's not as high as I expect it to be for someone that's your team that's conceded 103 goals, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you're talking about a team that's finishing.
Go ahead.
Right, but we're talking about a player who's played in two teams that basically be rock bottom of the league.
Yes.
Right. So already there's a discrepancy with how you can accurately judge his impact at that. That's like saying Andy Robertson at Hull before he just went to Liverpool was under the cosh and hardly.
I'm not talking attacking.
No. Hold on. What I'm saying is Andy Robertson at Hull, because he was at Hull and they got relegated that season. Let's say that his crosses per 90 and being able to set people up and go on the overlap and cross the ball in and set chances up, it wouldn't be something that would potentially stand out when Liverpool were trying to get him. You've got to look at like the actual profile of the player. And in his game, But
yeah,
his
but
game,
I'm not looking
the main
at
part of his game, he does that. He does.
But that's
do
what I'm
that.
saying. I'm actually just looking at the defensive part of the game, bro. I'm not looking
That's
at.
what I'm saying. He does it better than Casemiro.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
But the argument you were making, KG, there, you said I looked at the Opta stats. But if you do look at the Opta stats, actually the thing is that his Opta stats are actually quite good. But like you said, it's the debate point of, is that because he's in a team that's going to be losing more, so he's going to have to be doing more defensive duties, etc., etc. But then this is what I'm talking about when we talk out both sides of our mouths, because isn't the whole point when you sign a player from a smaller team like that is you see if they're able to make the step up and do it in a bigger team? Like to Flex's point, when you sign, Robertson,
how old is this player?
26.
Because the main thing is
4 seasons. He's had 4 seasons in the Premier League. Yeah, he's had half a season at Sheffield United because he got there in January. Then the second half of the next season, he got injured. Yeah, then they went down. He got sold to Burnley, and then went there. Yeah, so that's about 3 and a bit seasons. Yeah, but I'm not. Listen, I'm not trying to make out that like he's wicked and the answer, because no one saw this kind of this. I'm definitely not trying to do that. But what I'm saying is, and I said this morning on Sky, this actually is one of the challenges we set for INEOS, to say, okay, not everything has to be the shiny, wicked name. He's at PSG, his name's Ugarte, he's already international, high level, this, that. Not everything must be that, because we've seen enough examples in other teams where they're going, where they get man like this. And I just use Robertson as an example. He's one. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Premier League Hall of Famer coming from Hull for 8 million. I'm not saying that. But in terms of just looking at the profile of the player, how can he complement Kobbie Mainoo? Forget his name, scrub out his nationality, and scrub out his club.
That's all I'm caring about.
Yeah, with in a better team. So marginally, because do you know what else I remember last year? And I said this isn't the reason to get him, by the way, because it shows we're on the floor. When Man United played Burnley at Old Trafford, when we drew 1-1, we watched that game together. Remember? Yeah. And then we gave away the penalty in the last minute with Onana. Yeah. Xander Berg, mate, I tell you what, go and put highlights of that game and see what he done at Old Trafford. Yes, against a dead Man United midfield that had Casemiro and I think it was Bruno and Kobbie at the time. We got opened up all game. We got opened up all game against Burnley. And he was intercepting, playing the ball to the players then who will go and progress the ball, because he's not going to progress the ball through the thirds and that. He's not going to do that. But I'm just saying, in my opinion, I set INEOS a challenge, to me anyway, to say, go out there and find good value. Not everything has to be the shiny new toy, and bring it.
Because
it might be that.
I remember Gary
and stuff.
It was Gary. What's his name? It was. I remember Gary Cahill when he went to Chelsea. He was at Bolton. They were like bottom of the league. I think they got relegated that season. He goes on to be Chelsea captain. I think this idea of you buy someone from a small club, they must be terrible. Again, I think it's the case. You know what it is? It's the position we're in.
I want to stress that I'm not actually thinking. I'm not worried about a player coming from a relegated side. Look, James Maddison could offer something. I'm not saying now just because your team got relegated, you can't be good enough for us. I just need Man United is like, one thing we do need is someone that is going to be quick. I don't know how fast this player is, but Kobbie's not the fastest in the world. Bruno can run, but he's not the quickest. You need someone that can put out fires. That's what we're really looking for. We're looking for a player that enjoys, is always trying to be involved in the blocks and interceptions. You need someone with a wicked engine, is what we're asking.
McTominay's got that. McTominay's got a wicked engine.
McTominay's got an engine, but he doesn't know how to play. He can't play the position the way we need him to.
Even with the Ugarte one, this is what was interesting too, is when we were linked to him, there was still quite a vocal part of the fan base that are going, no, Ugarte's not that. It's not he's not who you think he is. He's not that too. And I think, you know what it is, I don't think any of us know.
No one really knows.
It's all a gamble, isn't it? It's all a gamble. It's all a gamble. And we see, we like I said, we can see stats where this player would be brilliant, that player would be brilliant. Ultimately, what it is, until they put on the red shirt and they play at Old Trafford, after like 25 minutes or so, you go, I'm not sure about that.
We can't, again, some other teams, you see that part when you say 25 minutes into a game and you can make up your mind. The problem with Man United is, after 25 minutes when we make up our mind, that player's not leaving until his contract's expired. We can't just say, oh, we made a mistake and they're gone. Nope, they're a part of us.
Hopefully under INEOS that'll be different.
Yeah, hopefully. But then so far, that's all we've seen is these players, they're with us forever. I don't even know how to describe it. It's it's deeper than a marriage sometimes with some of these players. They're just here, bro. They do not leave. We buy. Look at that. He literally.
Phil Jones, KG. Phil Jones.
Yeah.
How many times we sold Hannibal? How many times we sold Hannibal? I thought we sold him. I thought we had a deal, a buy with obligation, a loan with obligation.
KG, this is the thing that's mad. This is the thing that's mad. So yeah, so when Donny, when we sold Donny earlier on this window, we were complaining, going, didn't get that much of a fee. Well, why do you think we can't get much of a fee? Because we put these guys. He was on like 120K a week.
Yes.
Trying to pay. Like again, it's mad. It's mad. Even with these guys that have come in.
Remember this obligation to buy. We've done this. I know we've done this. We've done it with Baye went into Villarreal. Was it Villarreal or something? I couldn't believe when he turned up. I remember getting rid of Hannibal and he turned up again. I said, hold on a minute. I thought you were sold, mate. None of these players, they just come back. The obligation when we do it means nothing. And it probably is that because for some strange reason, Amrabat, we had an obligation to buy Amrabat. I don't know where Amrabat belongs. He's on our. He came.
We had an option. We had an option to buy.
Yeah.
Well, there's clerical issues about him being involved. Like somehow he's still on our website, even though you should have checked that anyway. But he's not. He's still training in Man United shorts, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. Honestly. We need to be able to. I just want us to be able to successfully sell someone. The only thing we got rid of is Mason Greenwood with all the thing against him, but that's because he's a generational talent. That's the only player we managed to get out the door.
Absolutely, and make 100%
profit.
I Campbell asked for 10 million for no reason. Yeah. He played a couple of games. I read something. I don't know if anyone saw this thread. I don't know how true it is. I just found it interesting, where somebody basically was talking about what a loan with obligation to buy actually means. Don't know if you saw this, Owen.
I haven't
and
seen
it basically, it was quite weird because when I read it, I was like, that's interesting. But let me just read this, yeah? Like, what is a loan with obligation to buy? It says, in practice, it is basically what it sounds like, but technically it's a bit more ingenious than that. A loan with an obligation to buy would never be seen as anything else than an immediate purchase. So instead, it's constructed as a loan with a voluntary option to buy for the agreed sum, say 50 million, and an option to sell for the same sum. So here's an example. So it says, so in practice, Man United would loan Ugarte, say, for 12 months. After 12 months, Man United has an option to buy Ugarte for, say, £50 million. If Man United doesn't use that option to buy Ugarte, PSG have an option to sell Ugarte to Man United for 50 million. So theoretically, it's not a given that either Man United or PSG would actually trigger the option. It would be unlikely, but a lot of things can happen. So, and it also goes on to say, like, let's say that Ugarte plays great for Man United, but ends the season falling out with Erik ten Hag. PSG might want to keep him to sell him to someone else at a higher price. And Man United could opt to not proceed with Ugarte. So it's not a given that Ugarte would be transferred from PSG to Man United. The transaction would be recorded as a purchase by Man United before the option is triggered. PSG is not a stranger to life with the exact setup when they used it to get Ramos from Benfica. So basically, it's saying that like even things like options to buy versus obligations and stuff like that, at the face, like they are like that, but really, it doesn't actually. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it doesn't actually.
That's very unlikely, isn't it? That would ever happen when it comes to those obligations to buy or whatever.
Yeah, that he fell out with the manager.
I think they would both have to come to the same kind of agreement, wouldn't they? That they were going to, he's not going to actually come here or whatever. Because I've seen people saying that about obviously the Todibo thing. They're like, this is 4D chess by INEOS because he's technically going there on loan, and then we're going to get him. You go like this.
West Ham are going to charge like 80 million if we ever try and go in and get
exactly. Well, they were sort of saying, well, because it's a loan, something will happen, and then he'll go back to Nice, and we're in different competitions next season. But then you go, that's not going to be the case. It's not going to happen like that.
If we manage to do that, that would be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. But look, when it just comes to all of this, I do agree with what KG was saying earlier. And this is the prediction for the rest of the window, is it's going to be a mental end the last couple of weeks, I think. All around, not just for United. I think for a lot of clubs, it's going to be a crazy couple of weeks. It's been a slow window. Erik ten Hag was right about that. It's been a slow window. It's been a quiet window because of PSR. And stuff is just starting to move now. Once the season starts, I think it will speed up again too. I just thank God. Like, remember a couple of years ago when the Premier League had that big sort of wobbly when they're like, the window should be shut when our season starts.
No, we can't have that. We can't have that.
And then every single time, I think it happened for like 2 seasons, and then it shut on like the Friday. The season kicked off. Everyone was like, "This is shit." Like what are we gonna do? They're like, "We're not gonna do that again." So yeah, I still think we'll get. I think we'll get a centre back still. I think we'll still get free. I still think we'll get free through the door. I think.
Free through the door. There you have it, guys. Episode 26 of the Trinity podcast, unpowered by Dan Gore. It's not anymore. We have to. Maybe we just say Dan Gore because it's still good, but just say it's a Trinity.
No, it's not because we can't.
Dan Gore. Just don't associate him with. Yeah. All right. Cool. But currently, right now, we're unpowered by anyone. So if you can,
we're looking for
power.
Would
like to power.
Looking for power.
For anyone's power. So.
New sponsor.
Yeah, exactly.
An actual real life someone who's gonna actually maybe.
We won't mention that Lenny Oro audition for the power role, and then the break. We won't bring that one up.
Absolutely not. That's episode 26 for you guys. Listen, season starts now. No, technically it doesn't, but listen, it's a competitive game tomorrow. It's Wembley. It's packed out. It's against Man City. We already got our thing. If we lose, it's pre-season. Win, celebrate. We might get licks tomorrow. If we do, stay firm. The season hasn't started yet. It's all about 3 points against Fulham. If we win, hold that pep. We say, our players have just come back and we still managed to hold that. Everyone's saying that about Eric. We didn't even have our back four. We'll be chucking it. But anyway, let's just see
me and
what
KG
happens
were
in
talking about that. We were saying, like, I was on his channel the other day. He went, Saturday, when that team comes in, halftime, it's going to be tough.
If we're still in it at halftime, it'll be mad.
I've said 2-1 though. I've said 2-1. Go on, let's get predictions quickly.
Yeah, I've gone with 2-1 the other day, Owen.
I think
that was before I knew about all of these. That was before I knew we definitely wouldn't have no players at the back. But
2-1.
Eric will make adjustments. We'll be competitive.
Exactly.
We'll be competitive.
We will. I don't think it's going to be as much of a smash as people think. I'm saying.
No, I was just reading. There's 4 of their players out as well. 4 first.
Yeah, they got like Rodri missing, John Stones missing. Like anyone that was good at the Euros is missing.
Walker.
We got to be careful though, because again, the team that wins the Charity Shield doesn't win the league, so we don't want to make. We want to make sure we're.
Because we were shooting KG. Yeah, is that right?
That's more for Man City and Arsenal. What do you call it? Right, guys, we're out of here. Take care. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and make sure you subscribe to the boys' channel there. Owen Wrestle News 3655555 recurring, and KG that comedian. Also the Flex as well. Got some stuff coming for you on there. We are out of here. Take care. Peace.